You can show your video, the sponsor video.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was confused about what you had said before. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge our sponsors. Because of them, we are here right now, and thank you all for joining us in GARD. So I'd like to also introduce Dr. Evangeline Silva. She will be our moderator here. So I appreciate you all attending, and I'll let her take it from here.
Thank you, Chelsea. So hello, my name is Evangeline Silva, and it's my privilege and great pleasure to welcome everyone to the Borlaug Scientific Exchange Fellows Roundtable. This is the inaugural meeting of BIFA. I call it BIFA. I want to get your feedback here, as this is the inaugural meeting. And the objective for today is to hear from previous Borlaug fellows who could act as kind of like an informal mentor to share their experiences as they went through their Borlaug experiences along the way, and see how the Borlaug fellows and SEP fellows can learn from each other. Also, I would like to see if the objective for today to work out a plan for peer-to-peer networking, as well as identify areas of collaboration where group efforts will be needed to help solve the problem. So those are the two objectives for this morning. And I would like to open the session now with Ben's presentation. Dr. Ben Olu, Borlaug 2019 at Michigan State University. And the second speaker is Dr. Bin Taisa, Borlaug Fellow 2014. Thank you. Ben, you take the floor.
Thank you very much, Professor Evangeline and Chelsea, for this invitation. And thank you all who are joining us today. I believe that we have some Borlaug fellows with us and SAP fellows as well with us. I put my thoughts into a video that I wanted to share very quickly, and then during the reaction segment, we can be able to proceed together. I was a Borlaug fellow, as has been said, in 2019 at Michigan State University, and I feel as though the experience and the value of it is just beginning to make some incredible impact into my professional life 3-4 years after the fellowship. So I totally believe that we will be able to share with one another what are the paths that I've been able to go so far, and what can we learn from each other, basically, which is the reason for this meeting. And finally is, how do we keep in touch, and how do we make sure that we can continue through a peer-to-peer mentorship. Chelsea, is it okay to have access to the video playing now?
Yes, I'll play it now. I was just letting you speak.
Good morning, good evening, from wherever.
Okay, I think it was actually working. It just confirmed.
For you joining me today. I hope you've had a fantastic.
Okay, can you
It's
tell me?
working from my end.
Good morning, good evening, from wherever you're joining me today. I hope you've had a fantastic day today. We are meeting here at
I'm sorry, my computer has not been having a good time recently. Let me retry this.
Good morning, good evening, from wherever you're joining me today. I hope you've had a fantastic day today. We are meeting here at the Borlaug Fellowship Alumni and the Scientific Fellowship Program. I was a Borlaug Fellow in 2019 at Michigan State University, where I had the opportunity to interact with some important mentors that have kept all this while. Today, it's my understanding that this knowledge that we experience is what we need to share with the rest of us, especially those who just finished their Borlaug Fellowship this year, and those who are going into their Borlaug Fellowship next year, and even those who have come after 2019. My experience at Michigan State University was awesome and has opened doors that I'm still exploring even today. And it's part of the reason why we're meeting here, even under the GARD forum. I went to Michigan State University without knowing the professor that I was going to interact with as my mentor. This was all arranged by the USDA Foreign Affairs Office in Nairobi. But when I got to Michigan State University and got to meet my mentor, Professor Karim Meridi, I was very amazed at their level of concern and their level of interaction and the level of the doors that open as opportunities for me during that particular time. If you recently graduated as a Borlaug Fellow, there are a few things that I'd like to share with you that I believe are going to be important for you so that you can be able to optimize on that opportunity. In fact, from my experience so far, Borlaug Fellowship provides you an opportunity that you're not going to miss as a professional. It's an opportunity that you're going to take from now on, and it's going to be the foundation for building certain things, including, for example, relationships with humanity that may simply continue and morph into something that is precious. For example, recently, through the joint collaboration that I have with one of my mentors from Michigan State University, who is also the GARD leader from Michigan State University, Professor Evangeline, we have won the Transformative Award, which is offered by the AAP program at Michigan State University. This, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is as a result of a continued collaboration that went beyond my fellowship. When I met Vanji, it was not in the context of the fellowship per se. It was in the context of a social event, a church event that she houses or hosts at her home and our house. So what I'm trying to say is that one of the things that are very critical for you during your fellowship is to realize that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And just as much as you're taking the time to learn from your mentor, also take the time to develop certain social events and social collaborations. It will be very important and prudent to keep on those social collaborations, because you never know, they may just be the gem that brings something magnanimous out of your fellowship. For example, together with my mentor, we have tried to write proposals. So far, not one has been successful, but I was co-opted and adopted into a proposal that won, which is called a tripartite program between Kenya, India, and Michigan State University. And that already opened up an opportunity for further collaboration with India. And that's how it was possible for me now to bring a participant from India to join me in the proposal that won this particular award by AAP. I must confess that to be able to continue to interact with your mentor starts long during your fellowship. This may already be too late a time to tell you that you need to keep a very good relationship with your mentor. However, if there is anything that you can correct, if this was not done from the beginning, I would challenge you to make sure that any relationships that need to be amended together with your mentor, you should work on it as soon as you can. If you're looking for an opportunity and a chance to ensure that you continue collaborations far beyond your mentorship. The next thing that I want to share with you as a professional coming out of Borlaug Fellowship is that the USDA office, which is the Foreign Affairs Office, for us here in East Africa, is based in Nairobi. For you in North Africa, maybe it's somewhere else. And even for those who are coming from different parts of the world, it could be somewhere else. But my take is that this is one relationship that you want to try and keep, because anytime they are looking for opportunities and people to bring on board, they are going to start from their database. And they're going to start with the kind of persons that they interacted with that had an impact of some kind. So it's also one of the areas that I want you to focus on, making sure that you maintain the relationship between that office, the Foreign Affairs Office of your country, and your universities or institutions. I think the third thing that I would like to share with my young brothers and sisters who are just coming out of the Borlaug Fellowship is that there are few professional programs that have the opportunity to impact your professional life as much as the Borlaug Fellowship. And this is because it gives you an opportunity where your mentor is going to come all the way from the United States to come and visit you. And when your mentor comes to your institution, one of the things that is going to happen is that you're going to have an opportunity to maybe take them to the bosses, the directors of the institution that you may not have gone to see for the rest of your time that you've been in that particular institution. I assure you that those opportunities give you a time where you can get to be recognized, you can get to be known by some of the superiors in your institution. And believe you me, that makes it easier for you when it comes to looking for anything, when it comes to looking for referrals, when it comes to looking for collaborations, because they would have known you and you'd have been known and introduced by somebody of the stature of a full-blown professor who is coming from the institution, whether it was Cornell University or Michigan State University or whichever other university you are in. The next thing I would like to say with regard to what I would like to share with you as a young Borlaug fellow is to make sure that if this far you didn't produce something tangible, something long-lasting, for example, if this far you didn't turn some of your experiences into, let's say, a paper or into a blog post or a blog post, this, I urge you, is the most important and the precious moment for you to do that, so that you can be able to have something tangible. Because by the end of the day, everyone would like to know what is it that this Borlaug Fellowship achieved for you. And wherever you're going to have a conversation, perhaps with the Foreign Affairs Department or the Foreign Services Department in your country, or even the embassy, it makes all the difference if you say, I was a Borlaug Fellow in 2019, 2020, and out of that, I have these publications. If possible, print them and present them before them. This is going to make all the difference. So what I would like to urge you is this far, if you have nothing tangible in terms of a blog post, I'm saying that as blog post, or if you don't have any video links, YouTube videos, or a paper that has been published, or a paper that is ready as a white paper, or even a communique, or perhaps a joint that you have with the fellows. And the promises that we're going to go big together, we're going to keep and maintain these relationships. But many times, because of the many, but I'd like to urge you as a young fellow that relationship you have with a Borlaug fellow who is in your court is, let me tell you why. The current transformative project that we have won is jointly co-PI'd by myself and a colleague from Cameroon. and another colleague from India, and another colleague even from Kenya, USA. To get into those relationships, it helps you that you can easily do an email to them and ask them for contact, because I can easily share this GARD material in the forum where we are all together, and by so sharing, this information reaches so many different people. I want to tell you, recently, as we were recruiting for speakers for GARD Forum, one of the things that was very important and helped us a lot was the fact that I have key people in different countries that I can easily write an email to, and they'll do all the work of identifying appropriate speakers for us to be able to exploit for the fellowship. I'd like to urge you, ladies and gentlemen, that even as we become alumni of Borlaug Fellowship, it is very important that we begin to keep some of these conversations going. I like this particular arrangement that we began here through the leadership of Professor Evangeline and the rest of us all together. I believe that this is the beginning of opportunities to share, beginning of opportunities to co-create, and beginning of opportunities to create something together that would help us, each and every one of us, to expand our experiences. Having been a Borlaug Fellow, I am convinced more than ever that as we continue to collaborate together, we are able to create, because every single one of us has a strength of the mentor that they worked with, has a strength of the backing of the university that they worked with, has a strength of their experiences that they explored during their fellowship. And if we can bring all these together, we can do something massive, like we are beginning to do with the GARD African Forum. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to stop it here for now. I'll be available for any questions and answers that you may have. I will respond to you by text and through Hoover. And in case you'd like to collaborate with me, I would like to say that my name is Bernard Lowe. I'm a lecturer at the Department of Dairy and Food Science and Technology at Egerton University, which is based in Kenya. My area of specialization has to do with food safety, but I'm also very interested in the food systems development and food systems transformation. So I'm offering an opportunity for you through my email address. You can reach me at bernard.olo, which is OROO, at egerton.ac.ke. Through that, we can be able to communicate. And my number is +254 725 817 520. You can reach me on WhatsApp, and we can begin to create something together. We can begin to pursue calls together. We can begin to create curriculum together. I believe that Borlaug Fellows alumni will become something magnificent that even the Borlaug program in the United States will recognize for the benefit of all of us. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
So thank you, everybody. Just to reiterate from the video call that definitely the Borlaug Fellowship was a very significant change or transformation for me, and I've shared with you just 3 or 4 things that I felt are very important as Borlaug Fellows. One is maintaining a very close relationship with your mentor. If that is not the case, I've given you a chance to see how to amend that if it's still possible. The next one is keep a very close relationship with the Foreign Affairs Services Office in your country. That would also be a very good contact to keep. The third one is about ensuring that at least produce something from your fellowship. Let it not just be, all the experiences you had. Let there be something tangible, maybe the paper here, a blog post that you produce, or even a talk, about what your experiences were like, so that is something that someone can refer to. And finally, I've also said that Borlaug Fellowship gives you a very great opportunity when your mentor comes on board to visit you in your institutions, take the time to introduce them to whoever is who in your institutions. And that, of course, gives you leverage when you need to get letters of commendation or letters of support for a project. It will be easier for you to do that. So I would like to stop here. If there are any questions for me, I'll be able to gladly take them. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you my experiences. Back to you, Chelsea.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. And I would like to give the floor to, before we proceed, do you have any questions for Ben? Kind of burning question. There's a chat here and there's a message. Thanks, Bernard, for the interesting experience shared. Lots of lessons to learn, especially on keeping and maintaining the contacts we established during the fellowship. I like the blog post part as well. We keep connecting. Any other comments or any question? Thank you, Florence, for that. If not, we can proceed to the second speaker, Dr. Bin Naisa, if you are around. I don't see Dr. Binaisa here.
I also don't seem to. Miriam, would you get in touch with him just in case?
He didn't. Yeah, Miriam, he's not in the
Yes.
list.
Yeah, he didn't join yet. I will call him and then say what's wrong. Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can, while waiting for him, we can continue the discussion. Maybe have any question? So to achieve our objectives here, I would like to summarize what Ben mentioned about his video and his experience. Is that we need to be the advantages of continuously networking, in touch with your advisor or with your mentor, and then with foreign affairs office in your countries, and also your output, your achievements. So part of our objectives today, we want to develop a peer-to-peer network and mentorship. So what do you say from the floor? How would you plan to make this happen? So GARD is a platform. We are offering GARD as a platform for helping you develop the peer-to-peer networking session. I know many of you are in WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is more of a quick hi or connection, but we can develop programming such that there is a formalized mechanism of doing this mentorship and peer-to-peer networking. The second objective we have is to establish collaboration that requires global efforts or joint efforts to solve problems. And this is where Dr. Olo was referring to your achievement as a Borlaug Fellow. This is also an opportunity where collaborative strength will be useful in achieving something that is of achieving solutions to problems higher than each one of us. I always say that people will say, I don't have the time. But then if we pull together our limited time, it may be worth enough to make an impact. I say 1 minute, I have only 1 minute, and the other person has another minute and another minute. But if we pull together our minutes, it may be enough time to impact something or someone. So that is a open invitation Many times you also say, we don't have money. But money is also very relative, because if I have $1, I cannot do much with my dollar. But if we pool all our dollars, it may be sufficient to impact someone or something. So I would like, while waiting for our next speaker, I would like a discussion. Open your screen, your mic, on how we can move together as a group. Any comment, any question, or suggestion? Ideas? Nothing? All right. So while you are thinking about some ideas there, we can then use this time so that then we can be more comfortable with each other. Let's introduce ourselves. There's only 16 people in the group, in the room. So let's just briefly introduce ourselves and see what areas you are in. And maybe we can get an idea of what might be joint efforts that we can work together. So let's start with, on my screen, I will call on Ariel from Mexico.
Thank you. Every time for my name, I'm the first. For my last name, and the last, but okay. Thank you very much, Evangeline. Everybody, hello. I am from Mexico. I am working in a federal government in a national research in one of the institutions. The name is CIATEC, is in Guadalajara, Jalisco. And I do research in social impact in different kind of projects, but like about technological, or in this institution, we do a lot of innovation from agriculture. And my main topic is for agribusiness, economics, and social impact. So thank you very much. And if you need something from Guadalajara, I am here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. So I will skip Ben because he has already spoken. Pablo.
Hello.
Hello.
Good day. I am Pablo Delgado from Mexico too. I am professor at the University from San Luis Potosí in Mexico. I am working in the Faculty of Agronomy and Veterinary. My research topics involve in water stress in plants. We are using different model of plants, camp plants, for analyze the effect of drought in arid and semi-arid areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Pablo, were you a Borlaug fellow or no?
Yeah, the last year.
So Borlaug 2022.
Yes.
How about Ariel?
In NC State and horticulture department. With two professors, working with two professors, Dr. Oliver Bars and Ricardo Hernandez.
Thank you. Ariel, were you also
Yes, me too, in Texas A&M University, in the Department of Economic of Agriculture. Hello, Pablo.
All right, thank you. Thank you. On my screen is Intisar.
Good afternoon. Hi, everyone.
Hi, we can hear you.
Hello.
You can hear me? Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, we can hear
You
you.
hear me? Yeah, thank you. So
You are muted. Intisar, we cannot hear you. You are muted.
Inta, we can't hear you now. You're muted.
Intisar, we cannot hear you. You are muted. Intisar. Okay, we will request Intisar shortly. Miriam,
Yes, I am here.
could you introduce yourself briefly, please?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I am Mariam Jilouli from Algeria. I am a veterinarian and I am acting as a head of Department of Parasitology at the level of Regional Laboratory of Veterinary Medicine, belonging to our National Institute of Veterinary Medicine in Algeria. Our institute have 10 laboratories. So I am working in one of them situated in the southeast. In meantime, I am studying, I am PhD candidate, and then I am studying, I am interested by vector-borne diseases. So thank you for Dr. Evanji to give us this opportunity. And I am glad to know all of you. Hope we will be working for a long time together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miriam.
Yeah.
On the
Hi.
next.
So I can
Yeah,
listen to you
Intisar.
now.
Yeah, okay, good.
Excuse me. Good afternoon again.
Yes. If you could
My name
briefly
is
introduce
Intisar.
yourself.
Yes, I am Intisar from Tunisia. I'm a research engineer. I have worked on plant pathology, especially on emerging disease, under the supervision of Stephen Wigulu at University of Nebraska. Now I'm working on the micro propagation of woody rare species, and I'm happy to be a part of this group and happy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Intisar. Next on my screen is Jane Payumo. Hey, Jane. Okay, so let's move on to Florence.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon from where you're joining. My name is Florence Bunguti. I'm a Kenyan and a 2022 Scientific Exchange Fellow. I was based at the University of Nebraska. Currently, I work with Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service. It's an organization that deals with issues of plant health, as well as food safety and quality assurance of plant products. I'm based at the Plant Quarantine Security Station, currently as the Deputy Director, and most of our activities involve around pest and disease diagnosis from plants and plant products, especially for quarantine regulations, for seed certification, and as well as for supporting a band of products to other countries to ensure safe trade. I have a lot of interest in developing rapid diagnostic tools that can be used to detect plant diseases at the ports of entry and as well as during certification programs. And I'm happy to be part of this forum. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Florence. Next on my screen is Sarah Ben Said. Sarah? All right. We'll wait for Sarah. Next is Ribanta.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, Vanji.
Good evening.
Namaste. Namaste to you all. I'm Dr. Revanta from the Nepal, and I'm working in the university, Agriculture and Forestry University, basically in the Department of Microbiology and Parasitology. And I am also the member of the GARD, and I'm working with the Vanji for the biosensor. Especially right now, I'm working with the zoonotic pathogen and the antimicrobial resistance pathogen, and I'm testing the biosensor, which is developed by the Vanji, especially for the Salmonella, E. coli, and the colistin resistant pathogen. And I'm very happy to be part of this GARD, and I'm getting the updates and the how people are getting engaged in this diagnostic sector. I'm very happy, and thank you, the organizer, for organizing such a wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Revanta. The next one on my screen is Zina. Or Zina is still connecting. So we have a look at the chat. This is Dr. Payomo, Jane Payomo. Jane, can you, oh, she has a problem with audio. So she was a Cochrane Fellow, and she's now at a faculty at Michigan State University. And she hosted some Borlaug Fellows in her program. So she is saying, nice to see everyone. There are people still connecting, and Zina, are you there? Okay, Zara bin Said.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I'm Sarah bin Said from Algeria. I'm a veterinarian inspector in the Ministry of Agriculture of Algeria. I was a 2022 Borlaug Fellow. I worked with my mentor, Raul Sangueta from Colorado University. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah. I worked about disease management and the animal disease management and eradication plan. It was a really interesting training, and I'm so happy to do that. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope we will have a lot of interesting things in this group. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Our next is Zina. Zina, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, it's your time.
Oh, nice to hear from everyone. I am Zena Mchomvu from Tanzania. I was 2022 SEP fellow. I was working at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and the agriculture economist mentors, Christopher Gustafson, John Began, and Leah Noguera. And our main focus were on trying to identify, for instance, my case, I was concentrating on the behavioral economics. So mainly we were trying to see how consumers behave as far as when they come into food choices. How do they do their choices as far as health risk is concerned? So it is a work in progress, and we are mainly focusing on the aflatoxin, as it has been reported that it's a toxic that is really hampering most of our communities here in Tanzania, considering that most of the main source of food are the crops that are highly affected by aflatoxin. So it's a work in progress, and we are hoping that in future we'll be able to tell or to come out with what consumers really are aware of and what are really they considering when they do their food choices, so that at the end of the day, we'll come up with information that will help the consumers make a wise decision when they do their food choices, as well as inform the traders or producers on what really consumers consider or want when they do their food choices, so that they can use those information to do their production or to do their trade. So that is in a nutshell that what we are trying to work on. Thank you.
Thank you. The next on my slide, thank you, Zina. The next on my slide is Zimo. Zimo, are you there? Zimo, if you can unmute yourself and introduce briefly. All right, if not, we can call on Mohammed Benaisa to share your experience. You can introduce yourself briefly, and then kindly briefly introduce your experience as a Borlaug Fellow and how we can learn what you have learned. Thank you. We cannot hear you.
Hello. Did you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Mohammed Hussein Ben Isa from Algeria. I am a research director in the Scientific and Technical Research Center in Arid area in the south of Algeria. I am a veterinarian. I have done my PhD at the High National Veterinary School in Algiers on camel production pathologies. So I was a fellow in the Borlaug Fellowship Program in 2014. I visited Iowa State University. At Iowa State University, my mentor was Professor Curtis Rayonks. He's a nice person. He's a biologist. He's specialized in reproductive biology. So now I am working in my center on camel reproduction, camel pathologies, and other arid area animal pathologies, mainly reproductive pathologies and zoonoses. So I can share a part of my experience of the Borlaug Fellowship Program. So I was there in 2014, and it was a nice experience because I stayed there about 3 months in Iowa State University. I participate in different events. I assisted a lot of activities, courses, seminars, and different practical training program. So I learned a lot from that. So it was an excellent program, and I was very proud. I am very proud to learn practices about sheep embryo transfer, embryo collection, and transfer skills, as well as laparoscopy in sheep and goats. So mainly in Algeria, the sheep husbandry system is still on traditional system, but it is need to improve these activities, this reproductive biotechnology in our farming system. So I attend a lot of conferences there. I attend the Iowa Veterinary Medical Association annual conference, the National Association Animal Breeders Conference in Wisconsin, Green Bay, and it was a nice opportunity that I went also to the World Food Prices in Des Moines in Iowa, and a lot of other activities during my staying there in Ames. After that, my mentor has visited us in Algeria 2 times, in 2015 and 2016, and we have done a lot of exchange programs there. He visited us, and we are doing a lot of scientific exchange programs, articles, publication, and communication together. And we also done a lot of training program on the reproductive biotechnology here in Algeria during the last few years. I summarize my small experience with the Borlaug, and thank you for this opportunity, and I am here to respond any question if you want to exchange some experience with other peoples, with other fellows. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Muhammad, for that. Now we have Zimo. Zimo, are you able to share, to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is James John Bill from Tanzania. I'm working at Sokoine University of Agriculture as a senior laboratory assistant. And my work interest is on the food safety. Of course, this is what we call Sokoine University of Agriculture in the College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. And the department which I'm working is at public health, veterinary medicine and public health. I'm very interested on food safety, especially on the identification point of view. And my work focuses on zoonotic diseases, zoonotic pathogens, zoonotic food pathogens. Especially we have Campylobacter, Salmonella, which is a problem in my country. So I went to Bizot University as a SPS, the TBT fellow for 3 months. And my work there is on the identification or isolation of Campylobacter and Salmonella species, bacteria species, and the application of the control measures. So we tried to isolate, or we isolated anyway, Salmonella and Campylobacter, and we used a very cheap and affordable control measures. So we used the lactic acid, we used the vinegar to wash or to clean those carcasses which has been isolated with Salmonella. and we re-incubated again to see if there are any decrease in the colonies of the pathogens, and we found that yes, it works a lot. And of course, in my country, I'm trying to apply or to implement the same project. But my goal now is to develop the very quick method of identification of those bacteria, especially at the outlet, because we have markets here whereby you can easily take the sample and isolate the bacteria. So I'm trying to develop a quick method, which at the selling point or vendor point, we can just isolate the bacteria and identify if those zoonotic pathogens are there. And then we can introduce the control measures or how to eradicate or to reduce. And another thing is we're also going to educate people who are handlers of poultry, especially I concentrate on poultry anyway. So those are handlers of poultry to use the GMP, the good GMP or good hygienic procedures, because we have problems with cross-contamination of zoonotic pathogens. You can clean or you can be very keen on handling, but remember those utensils, knives, and so on can recontaminate the carcasses. And if it will contaminate the carcasses, then it can easily those bacteria enter the food chain. So my goal is on how to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Zemo. I appreciate that. Jack is here. Jack, do you want to introduce yourself? Jack Kirby and Jake Cripps, would you like to introduce yourselves? Okay, now let's move on to thank you so much for all your presentations and sharing. Now we move on to our main objective, which is how do we, Jack, did you?
I apologize. I thought you could hear me. My microphone was not working correctly, but hi, I'm Jack Kirby. I'm a fourth year student at MSU, and I'm an electrical engineering major.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, I think you're the only one here next. Okay, so we go to our next objective, which is how can we develop peer-to-peer networking, and then think about that also on how we can develop collaborative projects, work on collaboration to solve some of your issues or global problems. Which one would you rather talk first? The peer-to-peer networking, mentorship, or the collaboration? Or do you have other issues you want to cover as a group? This is your time to speak out. This is an open forum, round table. Everybody's voice is welcome and everybody's opinion is honored. Would you like me to call on you? How about we call on Ariel? Sorry, Ariel, you're the first one again. What do you think? What do you propose? Will this group be helpful to you? Is there a value? And I would just like to review or remind about Ben's experience. Because of the networking that he had, he was able to get funding from Michigan State University for his project. And then he was able to be part of a larger project that involved India. All those things are due to networking.
Yes, I think so that it's very important, this group, for the networking. We can generate projects in order to find fonts for the international fonts for different topics or disciplines, depending on the project. We can work together. For example, for me, it's very important because here in my institution, in the national research, I would like to have another projects in different countries to interchange experience and knowledge. So these kind of groups could be very important for me. I think so for us, but I don't know what is happening, because sometimes when we return for the fellowship, it's like we return our reality life and everything is changing. When we are there in the United States, for example, for me in Texas A&M, okay, we will do that, we have that, we will work together, everything. When we return, it's like 1 month or two months, like one more time, the same things, the same routine, the same word, everything. But I think so that after that, we can do different kind of projects. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, because when you are here, you're in a comfortable place where you know someone is guiding the direction and you are collaborating. Whereas when you go back, you have to initiate it yourself, right?
Yes.
And you're like,
Yes.
oh, wow, I'm not used to this one. So I understand.
Yeah, for example, we did a WhatsApp and we say, we will do a web page, we will do a book or a document for experience. We will have a ISBN for the book to write everything, one chapter and everything. So I think so we can begin for that.
Very good. Yes, right. Very good.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for your ideas. Any other additional points?
Hi.
Yes, Miriam.
Yeah, okay. So, Mani, I think we as a group, we can apply for international grants in order to work together to solve issues that have general interest. So, working together as a group to by how to say it, obtaining grants or anything that will lead us to work together and to have meetings every, I don't know, every month or 3 months or annual meetings in order to discuss this global problem. And having a resource of funds, it will have to say it will motivate anyone, because you know having so everyone has his own issues in his country and his own responsibilities. But if we have a program or have a work together that will oblige us to work together, we will be how to say it, engaged to finish it. So this is just an idea. Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Miriam. That is a good idea. So Miriam suggested, like, what is that program or research program, right? That everybody can contribute. And the nice thing is you can submit, you can publish papers, and then you can then become the expert on that area and so on. And so the first thing, a major part is if you can publish an international paper, then you have your name already in the international community, and it's much easier to convince funders, the source of funding, that you are able to implement this project. Because it's one thing to ask for money, it's another thing for the funder to say, are you the right person to receive this money, right?
Yes, that's it.
That's
well, we
right.
have to convince them. So it's,
yeah, you have to convince them that you are the right person to receive this money.
So yeah. So as a fellow, we can share our experience and our how to say, in order to make a strong proposal. That's make it possible.
Correct. And correct. Pablo is raising your hand. Pablo, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, thank you. So in my opinion, maybe the period for the state in universities from United States, maybe for me is short. 3 months is not enough for do experiments, obtain good results, for maybe write a manuscript for publication, maybe increase the period for more time, another month, can to help us to obtain more results and increase the experience in the universities in the United States. Of course, you have excellent facilities for do experiments. In this case, I think maybe we can obtain more experience in the use of facilities, equipment, I don't know. And in the future, when the result we can apply to different grants, international grants, and establish more collaboration in a web, for example, is my opinion. Thank you very much.
Yes, or you have a good point there. But that is where collaboration is very important, right? For example, Ribanta was here earlier. So Ribanta, we established our collaboration, just like you, like they need some help. So we were able to find money for him to come to the US to my lab to train with our technologies. And this was, he came in 2000, I think 2017. So now we just published a paper that was used with his research, and he's writing a second paper, and these are international journals. So it takes time, but at least you're moving towards something, right, that you want to achieve. And this is where collaboration, encouragement with each other, because sometimes you get into like discouraged, like, oh, it's been so hard and what can I do? But if you have all these groups of people like, yeah, you can do it, you can do it. And so those are all parts of the benefits of networking, where everybody can sort of encourage each other and say, it's going to happen. Just hang in there. Just stay there, right? Just stay focused. And that's part of networking. And also you get ideas for future research and something like that. So just like I used Ribanta because he was here earlier. So he started from just looking, he's a veterinarian looking at the diseases, and now he's into diagnostics. He's using our technology to detect drug-resistant, antimicrobial resistant diseases. And as I said, we just published a paper in January. He's now preparing his second paper for publication and things like that. Any other comment? Yeah, thank you, Pablo. So what is this research program? If we can focus on something where we can all contribute, and one of the easier part of publication, and I am an editor of a journal, guest editor, so we can work together on that, is just having a review of something. So one thing that I have noticed is that people from all over the world are looking for the strains of diseases in each country. Like, what is the strain in Mexico? What is the strain in Algeria? What is the strain in, the specific epidemiological characteristics of diseases? That is not available in the literature. It's not easy to find. But if you can fill that in, then that's a good paper. It's like a review of the various strains of, say, what a certain disease, either an animal disease, a human disease, a plant disease. Those are all easier publications because people from all over the world are looking for those types of information. Any other comment? Yes, Sarah.
Yeah. I think working in group is a very important step to exchange our experiences. As we talked with Ariel when we was in Iowa, when we met in Iowa, we can do a paper where every fellow will share his experience and his training experience. Working in group will help us to continue our research and continue looking for answers to our questions. It's very interesting step. Yes.
Yes, as I said,
Thank
yes,
you.
you're right. Like instead of writing the whole paper, in fact, in the US, we use that as a strategy. Instead of writing the whole paper, we divide the topics in the paper and we say, you write that, you write that. And so even if each one writes one paragraph, you put them all together, makes a good paper. So basically you have little minimal effort, but you all come up with a paper. I encourage even that in my lab for graduate students, collaborate. And so one becomes the first author, the others are co-authors, and then the other one becomes now the first author and the other people becomes co-authors. And so you have a lot of papers rather than one author each. So collaboration to write a paper is one easier way of publication.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go on, Mohammed Isa, Doctor.
Okay,
Go
thank
on.
you, Jaluli. In my opinion, yeah, I think the first step, as a professor said, that we can start with the review paper. The review paper is used for scientific report, and we can start with it. But because an original paper, it will take a lot of time to do the experimentation and to write the paper and to have the results. So I think we have now this networking system, so we can divide maybe the audience, because as I listen, there's different fields, crops, animals, and different other fields research. So I think that for the review, it will be difficult to join all people in the same field. So we can have this such small networking system and a big networking system with a lot of everybody. So the review, I am going with this idea to start reviewing a review paper on maybe animal disease or something like that. And we can start with that, because asking for grant and project is very difficult when the networking, the project members, they don't have their background together. They don't have some studies, some papers in together working in the same field. So it will be nice to start with that. Thank you.
Yes, very good. Thank you. So I agree that the review paper will be a good route, but I would like to go back to what Miriam was saying. What is this research program? So that then the idea is you build your expertise. You build your expertise. So you have a research program. So we can identify a research program. It doesn't matter, right? We have a research program, and then you build your expertise by, say, writing a review paper on that particular topic. So now the readers and the funders will say, oh, You have a paper in this, and this is your theme, and this is your topic. And then the next one, you come up with a second review paper. Now you have 2 papers on the same topic. And then you come up with another paper on the same topic. You know what that makes you? From the eyes of the funders, you are the expert. You are the expert, right? So that becomes you, that makes you the expert. And what happens when they start looking at the funding, who is the right person to receive it? What would it talk to you? You are the expert. So they will give you the money because now you are the expert. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why you have to have focus, because as your paper gets published, you develop your expertise in that paper. And when you submit proposals, funders will look for expertise. Like they'll say, well, you say you're the expert in X. Have you even published on X? Right? So now if you can show that you have published on X, the reviewers would say, oh, this person is the expert on X. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so the research program, if we can agree on a research program, I think the deliverables after that we can flesh out. So what is this research program? Dr. Payomo, Jane Payomo has on the chat, you can read it. And there are USAID funding opportunities in country, but then let's build our credentials first, right? We can write as many paper proposals as we can, but if we are not the expert, we will not get it. We will just be doing the exercise of writing, which is good in one sense, but your effort that you put into it may not gain you much. But if you use like a year or 2 or 3 to build your expertise, and then you go for the funding, you'll likely get it. So what is this research program that we can all work together and we can all be excited, so that then we say, hey, this is something to work on. You don't have to be the expert. You may just be part of the team, but then you start learning the process. What is that? I've heard earlier that many of you are veterinarians.
Yeah.
And let's see, even if you're not veterinarians, that you are interested in rapid diagnostics, which is an area of expertise for GARD. So what is it in rapid diagnostics that you like to develop? A rapid test for what? Or something. That is an area. And then from there, we can have that as one of the themes. And then we can, for those who are not interested in rapid diagnostics, you might say, we can focus on a certain disease. And then from that disease, some people can use diagnostics, some people can do treatment, some people can do prevention, some people can do marketing, all this, the whole thing. That's an area of that you can do as well. For example, let's say you're interested to prevent the African swine fever virus in swine, or you're interested to prevent prion disease in cattle, or you're interested to prevent salmonella in chicken. So any other, like we can have a disease focus, and then everything will revolve around that. That's one possibility. Something of global importance so that everybody can sort of pitch in.
Sorry, I can.
So Miriam, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I think we are here all multidisciplinary. We are veterinarian. There are some plant health as Florence, yeah, and so, there are some economics. We can how to make a proposal, writing about the impact of climate change in animal and plant diseases. So animal disease which have a relation to the agricultural changes, procedures. So each one can write in his disciplinary. I think it's especially if as veteran we can focus in vector-borne diseases, because it's due to how to say it, vectors that are that have no limits. Though it's like transborder diseases, so they can move from continent to another. So, just an idea. I don't know if it's yeah, that's it. So if each one can write in his specialty, and we have to have say roadmap in order to be engaged and have a commitment. Because if we work each one to his own, we will not be finished anything. As my colleague Ariel said, that we were very motivated when we were in USA, and returning back, each one was overwhelmed by his work and his activities. So if we have a roadmap, we will be engaged in order to finish this work. So the first thing I think we have to do is to write a roadmap to write this or to do this paper, or to write a review.
I fully agree with that, Miriam. I fully agree with that. Roadmap.
Yeah.
So who wants to put ideas into this roadmap? What is this roadmap? So the roadmap will decide, but we have to identify what do you want to achieve, right? Because once we know what we want to achieve, we can develop the roadmap. What do we want to achieve as a group? At the end of the day, what do you want this group to be known for? This is where we introduce the concept of elevator pitch, or we call that branding, or taglines. What do you want to be known for? And then from there, we go backward and develop a roadmap. I'll call on, who could I call on? Ben. What do you want the group to be known for? And then from there, we develop the roadmap. We want to know where we're going so we can identify what road to take.
Thank you very much, Vanji, for the opportunity. I'm still thinking through, but I think to get to the bullseye, to get to what we want, we already have a very good foundation that points us to really what we want. And we can probably talk about 3 things that we would like to see. And from where I stand, the 3 things could be: 1, we want to do this together. There's power in collective action. So we want to do that together. The second thing is we are interested in building diagnostic materials or diagnostic tools which are relevant to the different sections. So for me, most of the material I'm looking at is what can I use in the food safety arena to help, especially with the legislative process or the standards mechanisms in my space. So that's 2. And then finally is we also tackling the issues at hand, the issues that are troubling us today. And so we are collective, we are talking about rapid diagnostics, and we are discussing and addressing the challenges of the world today. So those are the foundations I would use to build where we are going.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much. So let me take on that comment of rapid diagnosis. Like, we can have rapid diagnosis for diseases, for viruses, for plant diseases. And then the economists can bring into the issue of how cheap should it be, and who will be the users, how do you transfer that to the potential communities and so on. So you have this holistic view. And if it is on animal diseases, we can look at all those things. So let's start there. Is that an idea, a thing that we can proceed with the discussion for the next like 40 minutes? We have 40 minutes left. Give me a thumbs up if this is something what Ben suggested we can work on. And then we will see how we can flesh this out. Just give me a thumbs up. Zina says yes. Florence, good. Miriam. All right, so I have three responses. What about the others? So let's just use that for now, and then you can, this is not the final thing. We can always work together as like validating or finalizing, smoothing the concept. So let's look at the diagnostics. In the diagnostic area, there's so many applications, right? You can use diagnostics in the farm, in the clinic, on the supply chain, in water, everywhere is diagnostics. What are the issues you want to solve or address in diagnosis? Because from there, we can develop some outline of what would be the review papers. How would the review papers look like? And will it involve the veterinarians? Will it involve the plant scientists? Will it involve social science, economics? Even maybe we can work with physicians in your countries to look at human health issues, water specialists, and so on. So what would be your ideas? What would be the current issues? Thank you, Jane. What will be the current issues that you would like to tackle one at a time? What will be the disease that you would say, I'm really excited and I'm really interested to solve this problem? The reason why we need to be very specific so we can see potential results. Any disease problem, any issues, food, or, okay, not necessarily the diagnosis side, like what communities, what groups of people do you want to help? Do you want to help the poor in your countries? Do you want to help the children? Do you want to help those that have hardly anything to spare for their expenses? What is it? What is it that drives you? Or what is it that excites you or motivates you? Yes, Pablo. Thank you, Pablo.
Yeah, in my opinion, maybe I am testing that my research and my lab help to the farmers to produce good crops in greenhouses, because in Mexico, in my state.
So greenhouses? Pablo, I think you're breaking. We cannot hear you. Pablo, we were not able to hear you. Okay, so while we wait for Pablo, help the farmers yet. Okay, So Pablo is interested and excited to help the farmers. All right, so issues. Help farmers. Good. Anything else?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Problems with the Wi-Fi connection. So my interest is in to help my research help to farmers in San Luis Potosi state in Mexico. We are producing tomato crops in greenhouse. However, the farmers have a very big problem with plant disease. For example, cancer. It's a big problem in this kind of crops. Maybe look for new technologies for diagnostic, for cancer or fusarium attack is maybe good solution for take decisions and the use of the crops.
Very good. So plant diseases, crops, tomatoes, very good. So those are one topic we can go into the diagnostics. What else? Miriam, you were talking about vector-borne disease. What exactly?
It depends if in each country in Africa, but in Algeria we have trypanosoma and leishmaniasis. That's it. So especially trypanosomiasis, yeah, because we have camels that are moving from country to another. It will be a good topic, to write, yeah, about it. Or leishmaniasis, it's a good big issue. But I don't know for other countries what are the who will be interested in. So,
well, leishmania and trypanosoma is very big issues in Mexico, isn't it? For Pablo and Ariel, these are, I've heard these big issues in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? How about we have new people here? Annette and Francis. All right, so let's move on. So we have agreed that Annette, are you there? You are new.
Yes.
We cannot hear you. And what about Francis Matuni?
Yeah, thank you so much. I
Could you
joined, but I joined late.
Introduce yourself quickly.
Okay, my name's Francis Mwatuni. I had Norman Borlaug Fellowship in 2015, and I developed a diagnostic method for testing a viral disease called maize needle necrosis during that fellowship. That time I was working with the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, but I transitioned to work with which is the International Center for the Improvement of Maize and Wheat. But currently I'm working with the which is the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Francis. How about Annette?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
This
I
is
can hear you
Inet
now.
from South Africa. I did my Borlaug last year with the University of Missouri. I'm working at the Agricultural Research Council, and I'm still working at the Agricultural Research Council as a researcher in meat science and technology.
Thank you. Thank you. So what we have talked earlier is that the question is, as a group, do you want to work as a group for, we call that peer-to-peer networking or mentoring? And I think we have agreed, right? Is that the consensus of everybody, that we work together? Is that the consensus of everybody?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, please.
Okay, so the consensus
Yes.
that we work together. All right.
Yeah.
Consensus. Now the next question is, what is the thing that you want to work together that you can be known as a group? Like it's like it becomes your identity as a group. And so we're trying to identify some kind of projects where everybody can participate. And Ben mentioned, like, maybe we can do a diagnostic. And it doesn't matter if it is not exactly your field, because you can get the idea. Say, for example, the diagnostics that we have, the biosensors that we have, is what we call platform. So if you say, I'm using it for African swine fever virus, the other person can say, I want to use it for salmonella. And so you use it for salmonella. The other one says, I want to use it for listeria. And so you use it for listeria because it is a platform. So it's easy to transfer it from one disease to another. So that's an area of the technology that would be very easy or transferable between countries, between researchers. Now, the discussion right now is what are those diseases that we would say we cannot definitely solve all the diseases, but what are those special diseases that would say, because we are together, I think we can have an impact on this disease as a group or among countries, across countries. So this is where a transboundary type of diseases. Yes, Ariel, you raised your hand.
Yes, thank you. I think so that before that, we must align our disciplines to link the knowledge before making the diagnostics to work together. Because,
Amen.
for example, for me, okay, I would like to work with the problems with the animals and everything, or with virus and everything. But I can do, for example, the social impact.
Yes.
What is the cost for the government, for the budget, in order to do that? Or maybe the government could be save money to do some innovations. But before that, we need to linkage our knowledge or disciplines in order to work in different topics, but in the same time with different kind of knowledge or disciplines. I think so, because maybe here, for example, in my work, we are about 130 people with PhD by technology, biotechnology, chemicals, different in biology. But we are about 10 people in socials, yes, economics, administration, and everything. So before, we work by the maps to work together to construct the linkage where we can find these spaces to work in order to improve our knowledge for the project.
Yeah, I
Thank
agree.
you.
I fully agree with you. Because say, for example, what Ariel was saying, yeah, we may develop a good diagnostics, but if the society or the community will not accept it, then it's the wrong solution. Correct, Ariel? Is that what you're saying? So we really have to bring in the community, the users, whoever will be using this very early on into the development of the technology, so that you know that the users, the end users, are willing to use this, are willing to accept this. And that is where you're integrating the disciplines. And that is exactly Ariel, that kind of thought process is missing in many technical research, right?
Right. And there are many kind of methodologies to work in that. For example, road mappings, the Robert Palm. The other methodology is the logic market, is that we are do the scenarios for the future, and we will work. And another more quantitatives and qualitatives. Maybe one day we can do a seminar for applying these methodologies in order to organize all our knowledge in one thing, in one main or goal for us.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So let's keep that in mind. Like to do will be to organize a session among ourselves, right? And develop this roadmap.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other idea here?
Yes, excuse me.
Yes, Sarah.
Yes, about working together. I think working together can help us to build a preparedness plan to fight against animal diseases, specifically transboundary animal diseases, in the way that we can protect our countries and the neighboring countries from the animal disease. Is very interesting to know the situation of the animal disease in the neighboring countries, and in the same way we will give them an idea about the situation in our country also.
Sarah, I really like that concept, because in many cases, the transboundary diseases, like the one country has already experienced it, and then when the disease goes to the other country, the people in the second country starts all over again without learning from the first country. Like, for example, the first country has already learned so much, and yet the second country is starting all over again, right? If there was collaboration, there was information, the second country can learn from the first country.
Is the concept, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I like that concept. I really like that concept, because this is where you know that the collaboration will have an impact, not only health, but economics, right? So yeah,
of course.
Thank you for suggesting that.
Thank you.
Yes, I think yes. I think the transboundary disease, it will be a nice idea, because I noted that it can be a nice idea to start with that, with a review paper on the transboundary disease, and it will be easy to publish. And the other idea that I want to talk about is the rapid diagnostic disease, rapid diagnostic pathogens in food. So it will be also a good field to work on, because there is a lot of foodborne pathogens that are causing a lot of damage in economic and in health of people. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, right. So we have transboundary diseases, foodborne pathogen diseases. So we would like to use the remaining 20 minutes for how we're going to structure this. So here's a suggestion. We put out 2 papers, review papers on transboundary diseases and foodborne diseases. All right. So what is unique? There are so many review papers on transboundary diseases, foodborne diseases. There's no lacking in review papers. But what can the group do that is unique? I'm now looking at this from the editor point of view, because I I am an editor, I mean, a guest editor for several of these journals. So if I were the editor, I would say, so what's new? What is unique to you? And this is where the group can bring uniqueness, right? So that then if we say this transboundary disease, for example, Sarah, tell me an example of a transboundary disease that you are thinking of. You are muted.
The food and mouth disease, for example, it's a very, very dangerous disease. The virus can go 200 meters on the air.
What disease is this?
The foot and mouth disease.
Oh, foot and mouth. Oh, yeah. That's a very, okay. Foot and mouth disease.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the foot and mouth disease so that we have something to work on. Let's say foot and mouth disease, right? So you would say, okay, foot and mouth disease is in country X right now. And we are together working on this. And one of the countries, let's say, for example, in the Philippines, right? Foot and mouth disease is in the Philippines right now. And these are the review papers. There are these reviews of this. And then we say, well, the next neighboring is, let's say, Indonesia. Indonesia doesn't have it, but if we can learn from the Philippines what their strategies have been and what would be the diagnostic platform, such that we can help the Philippines, but at the same time, prevent it from going to Indonesia. That will be a new idea. I mean, from an editor's point of view, I would look at that as like, wow, that is new. Does that make sense? Because now you are adding a different dimension of cross-country.
Yes.
Which, as an editor, I would say, I have not seen that before. I've seen so many reviews, but the idea of controlling one country in order to help the other country is a new concept.
Yes.
Is that good? Is that an example?
Yes.
Yes.
So now we will think along that line of transboundary. In other words, how can I help my country, but at the same time help the other country? So that will be the concept. So basically, how can I help my country and protect the other country? The other neighboring country. All right, I think we have something, right? Are you excited with that kind of concept? I'm excited.
Yes.
Yes, of course, it's very interesting.
It's a very interesting concept because many of these controls are within the country. It's like, how can I protect my country, right? How can I protect my country? But the idea of how can I protect my country and protect the other neighboring country, for me, it's a new concept.
And maybe the role of the OIE in this issue, the role of International Organization of Health, Animal Health, in this issue. So it will be important to include this concept in the idea.
Yes, but I think it's a fun concept, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's an
agree.
exciting new concept.
Yeah.
And we say the group brought that concept that you don't only think about your country, but you think of the other countries, because at the end of the day, the world is where we live. It's not the everything around us exists. I mean, are interconnected, right?
Yes.
So now we can say, all right, somebody will talk about foot and mouth disease in their country. So everybody contributes in each country. And then we will see how the interconnection in the other countries and how organizations can, global organizations can help in this kind of concept. So this is what I call a benevolent type of concept, right? Benevolent in the sense that you are not only helping your country, but you're helping others.
Mm-hmm.
I think this concept will have a benefit for all the world, not only my country or the neighboring country, but all the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, we will. The concept can kill the virus or the pathogen. This concept can kill the pathogen in his place, and it will not go very far.
That's right. That's right. So that's another. That will be the benefit, right? That will be the benefit where you can say, eventually this virus, for example, this foot and mouth will be eventually eradicated in the world. Because now if they say, hey, there is a foot and mouth disease in, say, Mexico. I don't want to have Mexico do that, but just for the sake of discussion, we say it's in Mexico. And now Mexico, Ariel will contact Miriam in Algeria and say, Miriam, this is what we have learned. This is the strain. This is the shall we say, intensity of the disease. These are, you better watch out, right? You better watch out and prepare for this. And so then Miriam is now prepared. Will be alerting, will be doing some initial research on what the foot and mouth disease, so that then she can hopefully prevent it from getting into her country. Or if it comes into the country, she's not starting from scratch. She can contact Ariel and say, Ariel, it's in my country. How can you help me?
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's
the preparedness plan.
Yeah, preparedness plan. I like that concept, preparedness plan. I think we're coming up with something, isn't it?
Yes, we are coming. It comes slowly, but we will finish by getting something.
Yeah, we will finish by getting something. So we have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's start. I would suggest let's start with a review paper on foot and mouth disease. Now, feel free to suggest later, but just for the sake of our output today, let's start with foot and mouth. Now, let's continue to exchange emails and say, foot and mouth is not really viable. Let's try to find something. It's fine. It's fine. But just so we can move along, who wants, since we have different, yeah, Pablo said, Pablo, what is HLB? Disease affects the citrus trees. Okay. And then an efficient chip diagnostic necessary for control the disease and avoid the lost production. Yes, we can do that too. So Pablo, put that, we will definitely consider animal, plant, and so on. This is not the end. We're just beginning. So now with that, let's have some assignments to think about and come up with just even one sentence to develop this framework as, let's say, Pablo, you're in the social science. So you might be able to look at this from the big picture point of view. Sometimes the people in the diagnostics arena miss the big picture. You're the social scientist here, and I think Zina is also a social scientist in economics. So look at this from the big picture perspective. So who wants to contribute in the introduction side? Let's say introduction. The introduction is easy, but what would be the topics? What would be the topics or subtopics in the paper? And if you can say, hey, I can do that. I'll call on everybody. All right, so we can, it doesn't have to be your expertise.
For example, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
For example, the social impact about the topic.
Yes.
What is the purpose of the objective of the main goal for the government in that issue?
Okay, so Arya said social impact. That will be
Social.
Arya.
We
All
can
right.
also talk.
Sarah.
We can also talk about. We can also talk about the government's role.
Government's role.
In this, yeah, in this concept.
Yes. All right.
Hello. Can I come in?
Sure.
Because for me, it's a bit challenging because I'm in the food sciences. I'm not in doing any diagnostic work, but there's this other project that we have to do here in South Africa. We have to do it within SADC region, which includes other neighboring countries. But now we cannot transport our goods from Botswana, from Zimbabwe, even from within one of the provinces within our own country because of the foot and mouth disease.
Okay, so that's an area. You can bring that concept in it. You can say, because of the foot and mouth disease, we either have export import problem, we have trade problem. So in it, can you take care of that trade issues?
Okay, it's not about trade in this for us now. Okay, fine, it's true the trade is there, it's part of it, but with us it's for research purposes because we are collaborating with those neighboring countries. So now the problem is how do we slaughter, because now because of this what do you call it, mouth and
foot and mouth disease.
Foot and mouth disease. Now we cannot, because of the cross border, they have to cross the border to come to South Africa. So we cannot cross them over to South Africa, even within our own country into the other province. We cannot bring them to, because we have a facility where we want to do them. So we cannot even bring them from that other province to where we are now. So yeah, I don't know how to shape it up, but that is.
No, don't worry about it in it. This is just initial present. What you do is either you read the literature or you talk to people, so then you can see like, how is this foot and mouth disease affecting South Africa? You can put that into the paper. So the idea is once we have this, I can look at it from the paper point of view, and I can like, okay, this is connected to here, this idea is connected to here. The important is we have ideas, and then I can work on how they are interconnected and how to move the flow of the paper.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you just have to put in your ideas. All right. So we have Ariel, we have Sarah, we have Inet, we have Miriam. What do you think you can contribute in? Just open up quickly. We have 5 minutes left. Ben, you can look at foot and mouth disease from the food supply point of view. Because if you have that, beef, cattle is slaughtered, and that affects the protein supply of the country.
Let me do that. Let me look at that.
Okay. So food supply, right? Food supply effect. All right, Pablo, you're raising your hand.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, sometimes the plant disease can to affect the production, the crops. And here in Mexico, sometimes the farmers lose the opportunity for continuing with the crops. These kind of problems increase the immigrations, to, for example, to United States. And this is a big problem because the field is empty. We don't produce more crops. Maybe new programs, international programs, maybe, or hearing of the governments can help to us to resolve this kind of big problems in the Mexican field.
Right.
Avoid the immigration.
Okay, I put like new programs, like new ideas. Thank you so much. Mohammed.
Yeah, I think one point that we can talk about in the paper, that some other factors and controlled factors, maybe the role of wildlife in the foot and mouth disease.
What are the control factors did you mention?
So the role of wildlife, animals.
Oh, wildlife, yeah, role of wildlife, right.
Yeah, the role of wildlife in FMD disease.
Okay.
So
All
maybe
right, very good.
The wildlife or other uncontrolled factors.
Uncontrolled factors. Okay. Uncontrolled factors. All right. Intisar, you want to say something?
I want to say something.
Hello? Yes?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Did you listen to me?
Yeah, I called Intisar if you want to say something.
Yes, as I'm not a veterinarian, I don't know how can I support.
What is your field?
And how can I help? But I'm open. Now I'm working on micropropagation and in vitro culture for woody species.
And so maybe you can look at, last time you mentioned about antimicrobials from all these plants. You can say, well, maybe antimicrobials could be used as an option to kill the foot and mouth virus.
Good. It seems good, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So antimicrobials, right?
I will look on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Antimicrobials to control. FMD. Very good. Anything else?
Okay. It's in it because I can't see where to raise a hand. Maybe technologically disadvantaged. Okay. I was thinking of, because from my food sciences, I'm thinking of like from the consumer perspective. The consumer perspective.
Oh, consumer perspective, right. Consumer perspective. Yeah, you can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea here is we bring in all your expertise and try to fit into the paper so that then everybody can contribute. There are always ways to fit in your expertise into a review paper. Ariel, you're raising your hand.
Yes, for me, I think that could be a very good idea to have a repository of information for each country, because I am specialized in econometrician and different softwares. So if I have information about what is happening in this issue in different countries, maybe we can do different analysis with different methodologies before to enter with the real information, or maybe for the first or primary information for institution of the government or something like that, the link to do a drive or something like that. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. That is also another project within the country. Miriam, you said you're raising your hand.
Yes. So as I am working in a veterinary laboratory diagnostic, I can contribute to about writing about diagnostic technique used to detect diseases. So the most recent ones, and then the possibility to develop a rapid test diagnostic.
Yes, methods, diagnostic methods used now, right?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Okay. So did we cover everybody? We have Miriam, Arya, Sarah, Mohammed, Ben, Intisar, Florence. You have been quiet, and then I'd like to call on Francis and then Zina. Those are the remaining people.
Yeah, maybe I go first.
Yeah,
This
go
is
ahead.
Francis. Yeah, so I may look at maybe the economic impact of the disease.
Economic impact,
Both,
yeah, very nice.
yeah, maybe within a country or in each region, and see how it affects the economies of such countries. So I think I'll just look at the economic importance. So I'm in plant science, but I can do that.
Very
Okay.
good, very good. Very good. Florence, you want to say something? And then the last one is Zina. Okay, Florence is not saying anything. How about Zina?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that I'm an economist, I also look at the socio-economic impacts of the disease.
Okay. Socioeconomic impact. All right. So we are past our time. I have Ariel, I have your email, right? Pablo, you got an email from me? So if you could kindly, just so it's easier for me to pass I'll develop a framework, I'll develop the outline of the paper, and then you fill in whatever section you have, all right? You don't have to be limited to your section, you can always contribute to the other section. And be sure to give me the references. And then we'll see how we can formulate a review paper for foot and mouth disease detection and control and socioeconomic impact and so on and so forth across countries, using our concept of the benevolent concept of helping our country and protecting the other neighboring countries. Could you put that in the chat? I don't have, Francis, I don't have your email. Okay, Francis.
Evangeline, my email is in the chat.
Yeah, please put in your chat in the email so that I can save time digging my inbox for the email. I got Pablo.
Yeah, I've
Put
also
your name,
put mine.
put your name and your email, because sometimes I cannot relate who is who, right?
Okay.
So let me summarize. We have agreed to work together as a network, and we will the concept of helping others, helping my country and helping others, we will call that now a benevolent concept for preparedness and global eradication of diseases. Then, so that's one. And then we will work on a review paper of the foot and mouth disease. And then from there, maybe we can identify then the missing links, the missing technologies, diagnostic technologies on that disease. And remember that the diagnostic is a platform. So it doesn't matter if you are not working on FMD, you can look at the technology and say, I can use this for my tomato diseases, or I can use this for my plant diseases, or I can use this for my foodborne diseases. All right? Is that good? All right, thank you so much for.
Yes, it's very good.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
So are we committed to work together, the people here?
Yeah.
Of course, yes, sir.
All right.
Yes. Just we need something to be engaged and committed.
Yeah, it has to be commitment because it's hard to be pulling somebody, right? So let's work together. Right now, we agree that we work together, and let's see how we can make the world a much better place because we happen to exist.
Yeah.
All right. Think about this. We will change the world, make it a better place because we happen to exist.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great
much.
day. Be sure to send me your email and I'll forward the
Okay.
outline.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
So that will
Thank
be
you
our
too.
motto. That will be our motto. Change the world because we happen to exist. All right.